Imagine this: a senior executive with two master's degree, walked into a board meeting. Halfway through his presentation, a junior employee politely says to him, "Sir, I think there is a mistake in slide 12. You see, the room goes silent. The executive face changes. Instead of saying, "Thank you for pointing that out," he becomes defensive. He spends the next 5 minutes explaining why the mistake doesn't matter. Now, everyone in the room noticed something. The problem was not the mistake itself. The problem was being corrected. Now, here is the surprising part. Not the more intelligent, accomplished, and experienced people become, the harder correction can sometimes feel. Not because they are arrogant, not because correction threatens something more than their knowledge. No, it's because the correction threatened an identity. Today we'll be exploring why smart people hate being corrected. And by the end of this video, you will understand why correction is often more emotional than intellectual, and how learning to receive it can transform your leadership, relationship, and personal growth. Now, let me share a story of a brilliant manager with you. So, several years ago, I worked with a manager who was exceptionally intelligent. He was respected. He delivered outstanding results. His team admired his competence. But there was one problem. Nobody wanted to give him feedback. Not because he was unapproachable. No. Because every correction felt like a personal attack. So if someone suggested a better way to do something, he immediately begins to defend himself, why that his position is the best. Eventually, people stopped offering ideas or opinion. Innovation slowed. Meetings became quieter. The organization began to suffer. The organization didn't suffer because of lack of smart people. No, it suffered from the lack of psychological safety. That experience taught me something very profound. Intelligence does not automatically produce teachability. So that someone is intelligent does not mean he will be open to be teachable, or will be open to be taught or being teachable. So then, why does correction hurt? Many people think that correction hurts because a mistake was pointed out. That's just one part of the story. Correction hurts because of what the mistake appeared to say to us. When someone says, "You made an error," our mind sometimes hears, "You are inadequate." There is a big difference between the both of them. Correction addresses behavior, while insecurity interprets it as an identity attack. You see, identity is the real battlefield. And so let's begin to address that identity issue. Human beings create an internal picture of who they want you to believe they are. Some people define themselves by their intelligence, others by success, others by their reputation, others they want you to see them as the expert. Now, imagine spending over 20 years becoming known as the smartest person in the room. One correction can suddenly feel like your identity is under attack. That is why some highly accomplished people become defensive. Not because they are protecting an information. No, they are only protecting their identity. Healthy identity says, I made a mistake, while fragile identity says, I am the mistake. The difference, my friend, is life-changing. So, what role does emotion play in all of this? Emotion, why logic doesn't always win. Why logic doesn't always win. So here is something many people overlook. Correction is processed emotionally first before it is processed intellectually. So the brain reacts to a perceived threat instantly. If correction feels embarrassing, humiliating, or disrespectful, emotions take over. The person may stop listening long before you even finish speaking. This explains why two people can receive the exact same feedback and respond completely differently. While one says thank you to a correction, the other may say, who do you think you are? The difference isn't intelligence. The difference is emotion. It's emotional regulation. Emotional mature people, create a space between feedback and reaction. Instead of reacting immediately, they learn to pause, to reflect, and to ask, is there something I can learn here? So let's look at a typical everyday marriage conversation that most likely might have play out to point home this point. A husband to push home this point. A husband comes back from work and his wife silently or quietly says, honey, I noticed that when you are on your phone during dinner, I feel ignored. Before she could finish, he interrupted. So, I'm a bad husband. That wasn't what she said, but that was what he heard. She addresses one behavior, he interprets that behavior as a judgment on his character. But after we unpacked the conversation during a counseling session, he admitted something, that growing up, his father came with insults almost every time. So when feedback from his wife was released, he felt attacked, and so he needed to protect himself. So sometimes people are not just reacting to you, they are reacting from the place of memory. So when you are communicating, you need to learn to use the right words. Many conflicts happen because of poor communication rather than bad intention. Correction that is delivered with humiliation usually produces resistance, while correction that is delivered with respect invites reflection. So consider the difference. So next time, instead of saying you never listen, try to say something like, I feel unheard when we are having a conversation. Instead of saying you are careless, try saying something like, I noticed something that might help us improve our relationship. You see, words matter. Tune matter. Timing also matters. Respect is very vital. People are more likely to receive correction when they feel valued rather than being attacked. Now let's look at the CEO that changes everything. Now, a CEO was known for asking one question at the end of his executive meeting. He would say, "What did I miss?" At first, nobody answered. They assumed it was a trap. But every time someone spoke honestly, he thanked them. He never punished disagreement. Over time, something remarkable began to happen. People began speaking more freely. Mistakes were caught earlier. Innovation increased. Trust grew. The greatest leadership strength of this CEO was not his intelligence. It was his humility. You see, the strongest leaders don't pretend to know everything. They create environments where everyone keeps learning. Now, what about the couple who started to listen rather than reacting? Some time ago, while one couple constantly argued, every conversation was a fight. Eventually, they both agreed on a simple rule. Whenever one person raised a concern, the other person had to begin by saying, "Help me understand." Not, "You're wrong." Not, "That's not the truth." Just, "Help me understand." That one sentence completely changed the atmosphere in their home. Why? Because understanding replaced defensiveness. Curiosity replaced accusation. Connection replaced conflict. So what then is a practical lesson here? The next time someone corrects you, don't immediately try to defend yourself. Instead, ask, "Is this feedback true? Is part of it true? What can I learn? Am I protecting my reputation or just pursuing growth? Will this matter to me 5 years from now?" I need you to remember one thing. Not every criticism is accurate, but every criticism is an opportunity to examine yourself. I will be concluding with the story of the sculptor. And they asked him, "How do you make something this beautiful?" He smiled and said, "I don't create them. I simply remove everything that does not belong." Correction works the same way. The purpose of correction isn't to diminish you. It is to remove whatever prevents you from becoming the person you were created to be. Every piece of feedback, when received with humility and wisdom, chisel away pride, bind the blind spots, and occasionally makes the whole thing beautiful. Growth is rarely comfortable, but is always worth the while. Here's a lesson I want you to remember going forward. That smart people may impress others with what they know. Wise people, on the other hand, keeps growing because they are willing to learn what they don't yet know. Your intelligence may open the door for you. Your humility is what will keep the door open. So, next time someone offers correction, pause before trying to defend yourself. Ask, "What can this teach me?" Why? Because the people who grow the most are not those who never make mistakes. They are those who are willing to learn from the mistake. If this message challenged you or encouraged you, please do well to like, share, and subscribe for more insightful leadership, relationship, counseling, and emotional intelligence, and of course, personal development. Until next time, remember, correction is not your enemy. Properly received, it is one of your greatest teacher. I'm Dr. Solomon Arasah. See you on the next video.